What if I told you that right now, in the middle of a real war? The United States Navy just used a weapon that science said was impossible just 10 years ago. Not a rumor, not a classified leak. We're talking about footage released by the United States military itself, showing a weapon that fires at the speed of light and costs less than your morning coffee to shoot. While Iran launched hundreds of drones and missiles, the US Navy was quietly deploying a weapon system that could destroy them for just a few cents per shot. Welcome. In the next 9 minutes, we're going to break down exactly what happened during Operation Epic Fury, what terrifying new weapons the US just used in combat for the very first time, and why Iran literally had no answer for them. Stay with me, because this changes everything. On February 28th, 2026, the United States and Israel launched one of the most powerful coordinated military strikes in modern history, codenamed Operation Epic Fury. 2 US aircraft carriers, the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea and the USS Gerald R. Ford in the Mediterranean, positioned themselves like 2 massive iron fists surrounding Iran. Within just 72 hours, American forces had struck nearly 1,700 targets across Iran. Over 200 of Iran's ballistic missile launchers, roughly half of everything they had, were destroyed or rendered useless. B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, the most expensive aircraft ever built at over $1 billion each, flew missions deep inside Iranian territory. Arla Berk-class destroyers lit up the night sky, launching volleys of Tomahawk cruise missiles. But buried inside the footage that US Central Command released to the public were details that military analysts immediately spotted. Details about something much more significant. Something that had never been used in real combat before. On the superstructure of at least one US Navy destroyer, cameras caught something unusual, a turret-like installation. Compact, angular, quiet. It was Helios, the high-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance system. And for the first time in history, it was being used in actual combat. Here's why this matters. Iran has spent billions of dollars building an arsenal of cheap-shade drones. The same ones Russia uses to terrorize Ukraine. Each drone costs roughly $30,000. Iran deployed them in massive waves, trying to overwhelm US defenses through sheer numbers. Helios doesn't care about numbers. While a standard Patriot interceptor missile costs over $3 million per shot, Helios destroys targets for the cost of a few dollars of electricity. It fires a beam of concentrated light traveling at, well, the speed of light. There's no reload. There is no magazine. As long as the ship has power, Helios can keep firing. Footage confirmed that Helios successfully engaged and destroyed Iranian drones during the operation. Iran's drone swarm strategy, the one military planners had feared for years, was being neutralized by a weapon that cost almost nothing to operate. Iran spent years and billions building those drones. The US Navy was destroying them for pennies. Alongside Helios, analysts also identified another directed energy system aboard the destroyers, Odin, the optical dazzling interdictor navy. While Helios is built for hard kills, physically destroying targets, Odin operates in a different way. It can blind and disable incoming drones and missiles by targeting their guidance sensors with intense laser pulses. Think of it as a non-lethal option. Instead of blowing something up, Odin blinds it, sending it off course or crashing it into the sea. By 2025, the Navy had quietly fitted multiple Arla Berk-class destroyers with Odin. But Operation Epic Fury was the first time the world saw it deployed alongside active combat operations. Iran's drones rely on precision guidance to find their targets. Odin takes away that precision. Suddenly, a $30,000 weapon becomes a piece of falling metal. Now here's where things get even more extraordinary. During Operation Epic Fury, defense analysts at Jane's, one of the world's most respected military intelligence firms, spotted something unusual about the Tomahawk missiles being fired from the USS Brooke. These weren't ordinary Tomahawks. The missiles had a distinctive dark-colored coating not seen before on standard models. After comparing the footage with declassified US Navy briefing documents from 2025, analysts concluded this was almost certainly the first combat use of the RGM-109 block. VA, the Maritime Strike Tomahawk. Here's what makes it revolutionary. Traditional tomahawks hit fixed targets. A building, a bunker, a bridge. The maritime strike tomahawk can hunt moving warships. It has upgraded guidance systems specifically designed to track and strike naval vessels at sea. And it was needed. According to President Trump, U.S. forces sank 9 Iranian warships during the operation. The Pentagon also confirmed something that hadn't happened since. World War II, a U.S. Navy submarine fired a torpedo in actual combat and sank an Iranian naval frigate. Let that sink in. The last time a U.S. submarine used a torpedo in combat was over 80 years ago. There is one more weapon that deserves your attention, and it comes with a backstory that goes back to the Cold War. Precision Strike Missile, or PIA, made its first ever combat debut during Operation Epic Fury. Here's the thing about this missile. It can hit targets from over 500 kilometers away with extraordinary accuracy. But for decades, a weapon like this couldn't legally exist in the U.S. arsenal because of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty signed during the Cold War. When the Trump administration withdrew from that treaty in 2019, the path was clear. The U.S. military began developing ground-launched missiles of ranges that were previously banned. And now, in 2026, those missiles hit Iranian targets in their first real combat test. One defense analyst described the situation plainly now that the NF treaty is gone. The U.S. is producing these missiles at scale. Iran, which built its entire military doctrine around keeping American forces at a distance, suddenly found that distance wasn't enough. So let's step back and look at what just happened. In a single operation, the United States deployed a laser weapon that destroys targets at the speed of light 4 cents per shot. It used a cruise missile that can hunt and sink moving warships for the first time in combat. It fired a precision missile born from a broken Cold War treaty. And the U.S. submarine fired a torpedo in combat for the first time since World War II. Iran spent years and billions of dollars building what it believed was an unstoppable drone and missile arsenal. Operation Epic Fury exposed that arsenal's vulnerability in 72 hours. But there's a bigger question hanging over all of this. As analysts have noted, deploying so many advanced air defense systems in the Middle East has stretched U.S. stockpiles. Patriot missiles, DOD interceptors. These aren't infinite, and China is watching. North Korea is watching. The weapons the U.S. just revealed to the world are extraordinary. But war always reveals new vulnerabilities alongside new capabilities. What's certain is this: warfare as we knew it has changed. Laser weapons are no longer science fiction. They're combat proven. And no military on Earth is more equipped to fight the next war than the one that just tested these systems for real. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe and hit the bell. More in-depth military analysis is coming. Drop your thoughts below. Which weapon surprised you the most? See you in the next one.